A man may imagine things that are false, but he can only understand things that are true. And to every action, there is always an equal and opposite or contrary reaction. If I have ever made any valuable discoveries, it has been due more to patient attention than to any other talent. What goes up must come down. To myself, I am only a child playing on the beach, while vast oceans of truth lie undiscovered before me. To explain all nature is too difficult a task for any one man or even for any one age. 'Tis much better to do a little with certainty and leave the rest for others that come after than to explain all things by conjecture without making sure of anything. Yet one thing secures us, whatever betide, the Scriptures assures us that the Lord will provide. Amicus Plato, amicus Aristotle's Magi's amica veritas. Plato my friend, Aristoteles my friend, but my greatest friend is truth. Truth is the offspring of silence and meditation. I keep the subject constantly before me and wait till the first dawnings open slowly, by little and little, into a full and clear light. This principle of nature, being very remote from the conceptions of philosophers, I forbore to describe it in that book, lest I should be accounted an extravagant freak and so prejudice my readers against all those things which were the main design of the book. If others would think as hard as I did, then they would get similar results. As a blind man has no idea of colors, so have we no idea of the manner by which the all-wise God perceives and understands all things. If I have done great things, it's because I was standing in the closet of smart men, taking notes and then publishing their ideas as my own. For I see not what there is desirable in public esteem. Were I able to acquire and maintain it, it would perhaps increase my acquaintance, the thing which I chiefly study to decline. The more time and devotion one spends in the worship of false gods, the less he is able to spend in that of the true one. Resistance is usually ascribed to bodies at rest, and impulse to those in motion. But motion and rest, as commonly conceived, are only relatively distinguished, nor are those bodies always truly at rest, which commonly are taken to be so. That one body should act upon another through a vacuum, without the mediation of anything else, is so great an absurdity that no man suited to do science can ever fall into it. Gravity must be caused by an agent, but whether that agent be material or immaterial I leave to my readers. This most elegant system of the sun, planets, and comets could not have arisen without the design and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. We account the Scriptures of God to be the most sublime philosophy. I find more sure marks of authenticity in the Bible than in any profane history whatever. Atheism is so senseless. When I look at the solar system, I see the earth at the right distance from the sun to receive the proper amounts of heat and light. This did not happen by chance. God gave the prophecies not to gratify men's curiosity by enabling them to foreknow things, but that after they were fulfilled, they might be interpreted by the event, and his own providence, not the interpreter's, be thereby manifested to the world. Hypotheses non fingo. Latin for I feign no hypotheses, I frame no hypotheses, or I contrive no hypotheses. The one as much as it advances that of the other. If a body impinge upon another, and by its force change the motion of the other, that body also, because of the equality of the mutual pressure, will undergo an equal change in its own motion towards the contrary part. To explain all nature is too difficult a task for any one man, or even for any one age. It is much better to do a little with certainty and leave the rest for others who come after you. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. Albert Einstein. Nature is exceedingly simple and harmonious with itself. No sciences are better attested than the religion of the Bible. When ich weiter sehen kann, so deshalb while ich auf den Schultern von Riesen stand. I keep the subject constantly before me and wait till the first dawnings open slowly, by little and little, into a full and clear light. Reply upon being asked how he made his discoveries. Philosophy is such an impertinently litigious lady that a man had as good be engaged in lawsuits as have to do with her. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and every one that loveth is born of God, and knoweth God, and he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. In this was manifested the love of God towards us, because that God sent his only begotten Son into the world that we might live through him. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought to love one another. No man hath seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? And this commandment have we, that he who loveth God love his brother. Considerable intellectual achievement. In particular, we should take note that this attitude enabled Newton to explore the conjectured consequences of philosophic questions as a form of dreaming, without thereby necessarily undermining in any way the results of the Principia, without thereby producing a philosophical romance in the way that Descartes was said to have done. I repeat what Newton said in the last paragraph of that preface, and although the whole of philosophy is not immediately evident, still it is better to add something to our knowledge day by day than to fill up men's minds in advance with the preconceptions of hypotheses. Certain fundamental truths, such as the universality of the force of gravity acting according to the inverse square law, were derived directly from mathematics. But in Newton's mind, even such a law once found had to be fitted into his general scheme of thought, and he came to believe that certain aspects of this law had been known to the ancient sages. Following the reorientation of Newton's philosophy of nature, he came to believe that interparticle forces of attraction and repulsion exist. Such forces, according to Newton, are sufficiently short range in their action, as he makes quite explicit in Query 31 of the Opticks, that they do not raise a major problem of understanding their mode of action. They do not, in other words, fall into the category of the forces acting at a distance. His studies of matter, and in particular of alchemy, had made the existence of these forces seem reasonable. But does the reasonableness of such short-range forces provide a warrant for belief in the existence of long-range forces acting over huge distances? Consider the gravitational force between the Sun and the Earth. This force must act through a distance of about 100 million miles.